Good morning, YouTube. Oh my God, the sun. Oh, it's blinding. Blinding by the lights. Okay, so on today's episode, we have to build the Jeep's engine. So all these parts, there's the block. The heads are down there. We have to build that, but we have to get this quad out of the way. So I'm gonna go ahead and get it started. Let the kids play around with it and clear up this whole area right here. I have the press already here, so I could press out the pistons off of the connecting rods, take the wrist pins off of them, and then put the new pistons on there. So we're gonna go ahead and get that started, but let's drop the intro right now. So the whole main reason for having the press here is, let me show you guys. If you guys don't know what a wrist pin is, you see that hole that goes straight through the piston top? Well, in the middle, that piece that's a lot darker than the rest of the piston, that's a wrist pin. It connects the piston to the connecting rod right here, right? So we got to be able to press those out because we actually got some new ones right here. So here's a new wrist pin, and here's a new piston head. And so what we basically have to do is be able to take off the old ones and put the new ones on there. And that's why we need the press. Now to put them back on is a little different. So I'm gonna show you guys how we do it to take one off, and then I'll show you guys how we do it to put a new one on as well. For a new one, we need heat, lots of it. So we have to go get a torch from Home Depot because I ran out of my torch. Out of my propane. So yeah, but let me show you guys how we take off one of the wrist pins. So I'm gonna set you guys up so you guys can see and where the lighting's good. So give me 1 second. All right, so this little thing that I just made, I had one, I don't know where it's at, I'm sorry, but it's to take off the wrist pins. You guys see that hole right there? The wrist pin is gonna fall through there. Now I just gotta modify the top so that the piston will be able to fit on the top. But is it still hot? It's still hot. I welded it already. It's got a one bead on there, and then a second, and then the top one is a third bead of welding. I don't think you guys can see that in there. You guys can though, but yeah. So now the square hole is so that the wrist pin could fall right here, and then we can grab it. And then I made it out of this, a little scrap piece of but it's strong enough to be able to go on there, and then we should be able to place it. Ooh, we should be able to place it on there like that, and then we'll lower that, of course, so that it won't hit. But yeah, so let me finish this up. I'm gonna modify that one, and then I'll show you guys the modification I made so that the piston could fit on the top and it could rest up there. And then I'll show you guys that right now in a little bit. So give me 1 second. All right, so let me show you guys. So there's a wrist pin that's basically gonna go right there, and it's gonna hold the piston, and then we're gonna push we're gonna push from this side, the wrist pin, out all the way through. So that's the whole thing. I'll set you guys up so you guys can see one piston get done. Give me those blue plans. No. There it is. There's the wrist pin, and there's the piston. Now, check it out. All the pistons, I don't know if you guys can see that. They have a little arrow. That's where the wrist pin came out. Open it out of the bag, please. So, there's that arrow. You pull that piston head off of it. And now, this is the new one. Now, the new one will have a dot where it has to go. And so that one's gonna go right here, just like that. Open that little pin, Levi, give it to me. And the new wrist pin is gonna go through there, all the way through. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna heat this thing up. Not cherry red hot, but kind of hot. And then we're gonna be able to press this one in, and it's gonna go straight through this all the way through to the other side. Now, connecting rods, pistons, all that, it's not a precise measurement. As long as it's in there, they don't come out from the sides, you are fine. It's very small measurement on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and heat this thing up and put the piston on there. Now I'm heating this thing up, and I have the wrist pins inside of the freezer, getting as cold as we can possibly get them. So metal, as you guys may know, expands with heat, and with cold it shrinks just a little bit. So we're gonna get that wrist pin really cold, as cold as we can get it, and this we're gonna heat it up as hot as we can get it. That's the temperature gun right here. We're currently at 370. I want to get it closer to 4, maybe 500. The good thing is today is really hot outside, so that's gonna help us out. Now the reason why we couldn't heat them up outside and then take off the wrist pins like that, well, we would heat up the wrist pin, we would heat up the connecting rod, and we would heat up the piston. So that wouldn't have worked out. But now to put in the new piston, we could put heat to the connecting rod by itself, and that way we could slide in the new wrist pin. And as you guys can see, I'm using just propane. I didn't want to go to Home Depot, and I had some of this camping propane, so this will work. Nice, 500. Okay, I'm gonna go get that wrist pin real quick out of the freezer. Now, as you guys can see, there's a little blue thing mark right there. I made a blue one right here on the piston itself as well. So that tells me that this goes right here, goes in there like that, and there it is. All right, and as you guys can see how the lip right there is, and look at the other side. It's basically about the same. Ooh, this thing's still hot. And look at the connecting rod on there. It's right in the smack dab middle. The dot is facing this way with the line there, and it's facing the oil gallery on this side. And look at this. Nice. And now let's test fit it. Perfect. So the reason we're doing this whole thing is the pistons that originally come, here it is. These are smaller. Oof. So this is the old one. There's the arrow. There's a dot. And we're gonna line them up at the bottom. And I don't know if you guys can see that. It's barely small, bigger. 20 thousandths of an inch is what that is. So I don't know if you guys see the marking. 020. 20 thousandths of an inch is what they bored out that block to. And so we need new pistons because the old ones, let me show you. The old ones would definitely not fit in there. So you guys saw how we were able to take off the wrist pin off of one and then put a new one on the other one. I showed you guys with one. Let me show you guys the setup inside of the fridge. There they are. They're getting nice and cold for us. I'm gonna go ahead and take off all the wrist off all the other ones. So here's all the other pistons. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we just need 5 more pistons to go, and then we'll go ahead and heat them all up and do all that stuff, and then start putting them on there. So yeah, so give me a second. Give me a second. Once I'm done with all that, I'll show you guys. But you guys saw how basically it's done. So give me 1 second. All right, here we go. So we're basically done. Here are all 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And as you guys can see, all the new piston heads are on all the connecting rods. Check it out. Nice and shiny. So we're done with that. I'm waiting for the guy to come so we can be able to grab the block, put it on the engine stand and start assembling everything. He bought all the gaskets, all the seals, the connecting rod bearings, the main bearings, the cam bearings and everything. I'm gonna wait for him because I want to make sure he actually bought the cam bearings. If not, the ones that are on the block, they're pretty good to reuse. I wouldn't want to reuse them if he bought new ones, but if he didn't bring new ones, then I would tell him, hey, you know what? It's up to you. Do you want to get new cam bearings and wait, or do you just want to go for it that way? So yeah, so I'm gonna wait for that. All right, guys. So here's the owner of that motor. That's Abraham. And we basically last night we put in the camshaft already. We already put on there. We replaced all the cam bearings, and as you guys can hear, my throat is messed up, so I might just put you guys in a time lapse. Anything of importance, I'll show it to you guys slowly. But this is that cam bearing assembly tool that I've had for years, and we finally used it. I think last time I used it was 4 years ago or something like that. Here's all the parts. We got everything. This timing kit, all the gaskets, oil pump, main bearings, rod bearings, and then like I showed you guys, the pistons are all done and set up. So we gotta put the piston rings, and then we gotta go to my dad's house, get the piston ring, the assembly tool, so we could be able to put the pistons inside. So I'm just gonna set you guys in a little time lapse, let you guys see it, put some background music, and anything of importance I'll stop and I'll show you guys. Okay, so now on this part, we're just basically gonna do the main bearings. We put assembly lube on there, put the main bearing, then more assembly lube. Right here we go ahead and grab the crankshaft, install it, and then we're gonna do the main bearing caps. Go ahead and on the caps, we're gonna clean them up, put a plastic gauge on there. So then we're gonna torque everything down how it's supposed to be, starting from the middle, outwards. And we're gonna go ahead and torque it down so we can see, well, the plastic gauge, basically what it does, it's gonna show us if there's enough clearance for the oil to be passing through. Torquing it down, the sequence, from what I remember, it was first there's a torque sequence, and then on top of that you have to do a certain I think 90 degrees what it was, something like that, and then you have to basically turn it. Now back in the day, people would just say, okay, here it is in the middle, and then turn it 90 degrees. I actually have a dial gauge for that, so it makes it a lot easier for me. And then we went ahead and took off the bearing caps, put assembly lube on the cap, and then put the bearing on there, and then put assembly lube on the cap. And then we did the whole torque sequence yet again. This time I let him try it out, see what it feels like and everything. This customer, like I've told you guys before, he wanted to be able to do it himself. Told me, you know what, it's cool. Take off the motor, take the Jeep with you, because I don't have the time. Go ahead and pull out that motor, because he's learning how to work on cars. He pulled out the motor, brought the motor to me, and I'm basically teaching him how to assemble his whole engine. There we go, we did the bearing caps, and the motor spins freely, which is amazing. We want it to be able to spin, and so yeah, it works great. Now we're going to do plastic gauge on the actual pistons themselves. We don't put the rings on it, it's just the plain pistons by themselves. Go ahead and slide it up, put plastic gauge on there, so we can make sure that there's enough clearance between the rod bearing caps and the crankshaft itself. Guys, if you guys like this sort of content, please make sure you like this video. You follow the journey by subscribing, clicking on that little bell icon, scroll down to all so you guys can get all the notifications. Follow me on social media. I will post every single Saturday no matter what. And like I always say, thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate every single one of you guys. And let's get back to the video. All right, guys, so my throat. I'm turning the motor this way so that we can put the pistons right here. So now this is 1, 3, 5. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 3, 5. So we're gonna do these first. Now we slide them. We put the engine this way so that we can slide them down this way, and then we can be able to go ahead and start putting the caps on the back. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the pistons and start putting the piston rings on them. And then I'm gonna show you guys how we do one. You guys see these are the piston rings, right? I'm gonna show you guys how I do one. Now they're always gonna send them to you this way. The instructions for installation, we don't really need that. Oh, it says first. I was like, what does it say? It says first. So this is the first ring. This is the oil. And these are the second ones. So we'll just separate them this way. Got a set of feeler gauges right here. Okay, 3/1000 to 4/1000 of an inch per set. We gotta make sure there's a proper clearance to these. Okay, it's hitting here, by the way. Okay. We said 3/1000 to 4/1000 of an inch. This is 4/1000 of an inch right here. 4/1000 of an inch. And it fits. How do I? 4/1000 of an inch is right there. Fits perfect. So that one's good. Now we're gonna go ahead and grab another one. Now we slowly pull it out. Go get another one. Now this is the middle one. So what happened?
These are all the parts that he gave you? Those are all the parts?
Yeah. So check it out. This whole thing is gonna go on there. Alright, so son. Right here we're making sure that piston ring, that ring is seated in there. And you see that little gap right there? Okay. Grab this real quick. And see if that'll fit in the little groove right there.
Just like slide it in?
Does it fit hard? Yeah. Soft? You can move it, maneuver it.
Like maneuver?
Yeah, you can like.
Hard.
Good? Yeah, okay, we're good. So yeah, that's how you check the groove depth, and we make sure that there's enough clearance, because like I said, this block got honed out to 20/1000 of an inch. Now we're gonna go ahead and start putting the rings on there. So I'm gonna hand over the camera to my son, and he's gonna show you guys how I put the first batch of the rings on there. And yeah, so give me 1 second. And act. And now these are the oil ones. Okay. Now, the only difference with the oil ones is all these little ones, they're all the same. So we're gonna need 2 of them. Okay. And like I said, we're gonna do piston number 1. And that is identifiable because we made a mark. Number 1 right there. Number 1 right there. Okay. The dot goes towards the front of the engine, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and start with the oil one. We're gonna put the oil one on there first, like that. And now, like I said, this little dot goes to the front, and where they meet is right there, right where the dot is at. Okay. Now we're gonna go ahead and grab one of these, and we're gonna space it a little bit from where they meet, a little bit further out this way. Okay, so that's where they meet, and this is where the other ones are. And now the next one, the third one, is gonna come this way over here, a little bit off. So that's where they meet. So we're gonna put the spacing right there. So that's where they meet. They meet right there. The spacing is gonna be over here, and then the other spacing is on this side. Okay, there it is. There's the oil one. Now we got the second one. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and grab the second one, and the second one, like I said, the numbers go face up. Now we already know where the dot is at. That's where they meet. The oil one, okay, it's right there. So now we're gonna go ahead and grab it and bring it over here to this side, and that's where we started. I'm probably not making any sense, guys. If you've never done this before, it is a little frustrating. Like I've said it before, engine building is not a very DIY sort of thing, unless, like, you know, you've done it before, or you're comfortable, you know, because any small adjustment that you do, it could be catastrophic. And now the third one, we know that this one goes here. We know this one goes over here. So the third one, we could do it over here. Like I said, numbers go up. You put it in there first, and then you just slide it in. There it is. And there it is. So that's how we build the piston rings. I'm going to go ahead and compress these real quick. Drop it into the motor so you guys can see that. All right. We're going to go ahead and clean the cylinder wall. Now, all this was already honed out at the machine shop. So all that is good. And we're just going to add some assembly lube on there. We're going to go ahead and coat it on there. Nice and good. Here's the piston already. It's already on there. I'm going to go ahead and add some assembly lube on here. Just a little bit. Drop a rod bearing on there. Rod bearing, as you guys can see, the oil gallery plug is right there. The oil gallery hole. That's where the oil is going to come out of. Now, the dot goes towards the front of the engine. We're going to make sure all this is done right at the bottom. Okay, put it in there right there. And then put pressure and slowly guide it. There it is. Down here, we're gonna make sure we guide the piston all the way down. Now we're gonna go ahead and grab the cap, put some assembly lube on there, grab a rod, drop the rod in there, more assembly lube, and like we said, the number one goes towards the top because that's where it matches. There it is. So there it is. Now we torque them. Now the torque specifications for the rod bearings are 40 foot-pounds of torque plus an additional 90-degree turn with the dial, which is right here. So an additional 90 degrees, and that's how we torque them. So I'm going to go ahead and torque this one real quick, show you guys that on camera, and then I'm going to go ahead and do the rest, and I'll show you guys once that's done. By that time, the owner of the motor, which is Abraham. He'll be here. So 40 foot-pounds. There it is. Now the 90-degree turn, I'm gonna do that once they're all in there, so we could do them all at once. But I'm gonna torque them all to 40 foot-pounds. But that's basically how we do one. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest, and then I'll show you guys once we start doing the 90-degree turn on all of them. So give me 1 second. All right, guys. So I wanted to show you guys this. Now I feel like crap. Okay, so I feel like crap. So I'll probably keep doing this motor later on down the road. The guy already left, the owner. But we got all the pistons inside. Everything is in there. The motor spins freely. There's no hiccups, no nothing. So check this out. Motor springs freely, which is good. Which is good. So yeah, all is good on that. And the next step is putting the head gaskets on there and dropping the heads on there. But yeah, so that's basically the very next step. But yeah, all right, so I'll leave this video, and then once I start doing more, I'll update you guys. Also, hey guys, how you guys doing? So as you guys can see, it's a whole nother day, and I got home from work. I went to the gym. I rushed to leave the yard because I wanted to get home as fast as I could so I can be able to get ready and go to class. The problem with that is I left my DJI camera at the yard inside the semi truck. I brought the laptop, which I can add this video in there, but I might not be able to record as much because my phone is running low on storage, and so yeah, that's gonna suck. So the whole goal right now is I'm gonna go ahead and take apart that transmission, go ahead and get that torque converter, because that truck, as soon as you get it out of park, it stalls, it dies. So the torque converter is bad. The customer had replaced it already. He told me he replaced it. The only thing is, he said when he was putting it back together, they had to cut some stuff. That's not good. So I'm gonna go ahead and take apart the transmission, because I can see that he cut the torque converter to put it back in. So they must have given him a wrong one, and he didn't know any better. But yeah, so I'm gonna fix that truck for him. I'm able to record some stuff with my phone and then be able to put it on the video for this week. If not, I'm sorry guys. So yeah, that's my bad. I should start carrying 2 cameras. So yeah, all right, I'll see you guys in a little bit. All right guys, so I finished taking off that transmission from the Sequoia. I just want to show you guys real quick basically what the damages is, so you guys can take a look at it. So here we have the torque converter. So here's the torque converter. As you guys can see, it was scraping all right there, which is not good. Any scrape, it will push the torque converter back, and it won't be able to engage all the fins and all the stuff from inside. Check this out. I can't lift up this whole transmission with the transfer case by myself, right? So there's one strap right there, and there's another strap back there, and it's basically suspending the transmission. It's suspending the transmission so I can be able to put a jack under there later on. Now take a look at this. So I don't know if you guys can see, but there's a groove right in the middle. There's a groove right here, right in the middle. So this is nice, and then it falls into a groove. You can probably see it right there. So there's a groove right here. I can feel it with my finger. That's not good at all. That means it kept disengaging from the transmission. So for sure that torque converter is bad. Now that groove is not good at all. I'm hoping that once we get the new torque converter, we can install it. But if not, we're gonna need to take off the oil pump off of this transmission and replace that input shaft. It's more involved. Basically, that's all I'm saying. So yeah, this customer, I mean, I'll tell you guys this. If you don't know what you're doing, if you're pretty good at DIY, go ahead and do, your own work. Now, if you're not too sure, because this customer told me he cut some stuff so that it could be able to fit and this and that, that torque converter was like in there tight. I had to like wiggle it and jiggle it and put the breaker bar on it so I can pry it off. That torque converter was getting seized in there. That's not good. If you're not sure what you're doing, call someone. Message me on Instagram. Message me on TikTok if you're doing something and you're not too sure. I will answer the question. Google is a great platform right now with the AI that it has as well. There's times where I'm not too sure and I'll go ask my dad. And I'll be like, hey, Dad, I'm doing this. What do you think? And I'll take pictures and I'll send it to him. And he'll tell me, hey, you know what? That doesn't look good. Do it this way. And then I'll do it the way that he tells me to. Why? Because he has more experience, more knowledge. So, yeah, this customer should have waited until, I was able to get to his transmission. But I'm hoping that's not an issue. I'm going to send pictures. Oh, my God. It's windy. And the wind is like dragging dirt straight into my eyes. And then I'm sick right now too. So I'm going to take pictures of this, send it to my dad, see what he thinks. And I will probably update this video later on once I have the GoPro. Once I have my camera, my DJI, I'll update this whole thing for you guys. I hope we don't have to get a new input shaft. If not, that this customer's gonna be pissed because he basically wanted to save a couple $100. I don't charge a lot. That's the thing. I don't charge a lot. So yeah, that sucks. All right, so I'll update you guys later. I'll see you guys later. Bye. On the Sequoia, Mikey and I, we actually put the transmission back up already. We put the torque converter on there. I made a whole mess down there, but torque converter is in there. It's just now assembling the whole thing, but he went out to eat, and then I was recording. I feel like crap. I'm not even talking. So I'm gonna clean up right now, go shower, head inside, rest for a little bit. But I'll see you guys next time. All right, guys. So we're back on the shop. We're back in the garage. But one day we're gonna have a shop. Okay, so we're back here. Take a look at this. Oh, by the way, it's a whole nother day. I'm sorry about that. I can actually breathe now. I don't have a fever. I don't see dead people anymore. Yeah, the fevers were horrible. But we have the engine already. If you guys can see, all the pistons are in there. See that? But yeah, look at that. All the pistons are in there. So the cam is actually bent. We took a look at it, and I will talk about this. I'm pretty sure I'm going to talk about this throughout the video and stuff. But the cam is actually bent, and so you had to order a new one. We had to uninstall the cam bearings. So we had to uninstall those. So we got to install those once they come in the mail again. But that'll be it for this video. So yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate every single one of you guys. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye. I'm going to keep playing with my dogs. I'll see you guys later.